Mushoku Tensei by far is the most mixed reviewed isekai I've ever seen. You'll either get comments saying that this show is peak, deserving to sit in the royal class of S-tier shows like Steingate's, Vinland Saga, or even a fellow member of the isekai genre, ReZero. Or you'll get to hear people call it Diddy Tensei and that this main character that we're provided with is the most dishonorable, uncouth, unsophisticated heathen we'll ever have. Which, I can't defend some of his actions. Okay, I can't defend lots of his actions, but what I can defend is this show's beguiling nature, how it can be mesmerizing yet treacherous. The people who live in this fantasy world is aware of the dangers it contains, and tends to stay safe, especially since it has vicious monsters. And with that said, this world can take many things away from people, such as treasured possessions, money, or worst of all, family. There are numerous occasions where we are shown that family is a key part of a person's story. For an example, Roxy. She felt like she had to separate herself from her clan, including her family, since she didn't have the same ability and felt like that she was an outcast. But after a while, she learned to accept who she was and try to face her past. She faced her family and learned that her family didn't really care about the setbacks that she had. As long as she was her, they loved her, and she had a happy ending. However, not all family stories had a happy ending. Some had, or have, a tragic story of themselves. And what other family would I be talking about besides the Grey Rats? Multiple times do we see this family isn't exactly what should be desired, but there's a specific Grey Rat that doesn't get a lot of screen time, but is still overlooked by the audience. I'm talking about Norn, of course. So to fully understand what she's been through, I'm going to put her life in 4 different sections. Before Mana Disaster, the Demon Continent, school dorms, and living with her brother, Rudius. Norn Greyrat is the second child of Paul Greyrat and Zenith Greyrat. Her life started off what others would consider pretty normal, which in this regard can be considered worse. She had a sense of safety, security, and emotional warmth. As she was growing up, she had barely been conscious before the disaster occurred. And moments before that, Rudius just got leveled by Papa, then proceeded to get leveled by Eris. But time before that, Victim 1 Sophia was crying, and Zenith was chilling. So keep this in mind, she either barely remembers Rudius or doesn't remember him at all. The only family she knows is Paul, Zenith, Norn, and, she can consider this her twin, Aisha. If she really wanted a bigger sibling replacement, she can consider it to be Sophia. She was always there, playing with her in time. So her family and herself would be living a completely normal life. Until nearly in an instant, the big boom occurred and created problems for everyone, including the ones who were collateral. Norn at this point is put in a situation most adventurers wouldn't be so pleased about. Being stuck in an unfamiliar terrain, not knowing your dangers, and having lots of questions. Seeing how Norn is the only normal child out of the Grey Rat family, when she'd seen Piccolo strike them with a beam, she was more than just worried. She probably opened her eyes and panicked, and we can assume, practically guarantee, she was thinking, where is mom and sister? Where are we? Time passes, and at some point, she definitely knows of her brother, Rudius. Such an amazing mage that even her dad respects. But, I don't think she likes him. Rudius is now a father beater in her eyes. One of the people that's supposed to be close to her was beating the shit out of her protector, which sprouted seeds of doubt in this amazing mage. All of this exaggerated praise, even earning the nickname Quagmire, just to see what she would think is his true nature, an evil mage, even worse, a terrible brother, someone to even be feared. As he walks out, you can even see that she is dedicated on hating him. 5 years later, Norn meets the father-beater brother. That is a tongue twister. Norn meets the father... Whoa, okay. Norn meets her brother. And you can see on her face that she does not mess with this guy. She can't even stand the sight of him. But Rudius still has to man up and be the big brother, even though he hasn't been part of their lives for, since they were kids. So he sits with Norn and gives her options. And this is how it goes down. Your entrance exam came in. You suck, your grades suck, get out of my house. And to the dorms she goes. Now at this place you would think that she would be alright. She would be fine and she could get away from Rudius. But the word spreads quickly that she is Rudius' sister. And that is all she wrote. Because once everyone knew that, she got endless questions about, is it actually true? Is she related to Rudius? Is she as great as a mage? Is he as smart as him? It was endless comparison, and it was to a point where she wasn't even mad about Rudius beating up Paul. She actually had gotten over that in that 5-year time skip gap, but now it was just about if she could gain a sense of herself, develop her own character. In an instant, she became Rudius' shadow, and that's it. Now we're gonna have to talk about the elephant in the room, that being Rudy. Rudy hasn't been shown to be with Norn a lot, yet we can see that he has affected her life drastically. It's kinda crazy how Norn's life could have been really normal without Rudy. Okay. A little more normal. And it's not like Rudy has done all these things on purpose and deliberately hurt her. It's just his actions just so happen to be wrong actions. Yes, he's affected everyone's life, but he did that unawarely. He's affected Norn, specifically in several different ways. And a lot of them being very emotional. So much so that Rudy can very well be painted as the bad guy and you wouldn't be so far-fetched. At least in Norn's story. And this next section is going to show more. And finally, after Norn begins to tolerate, and further on, like Rudius, a dire case pops up. Paul and the party has located Zenith, Norn and Rudius' mother. Now this is where Rudius has to make a very tough decision because his situation is complicated. You see, after Rudius and Sophia got finished rearranging the furniture, he apparently put a bun in the oven and proceeded to get news from the white man to not go to the future request to help his mama. Rudius is all like, but then sees Norn trying to be a warrior, I guess. Which then Rudius tells Norn to stop. Norn starts to crash out, then complains and wonders why the great mage Rudius isn't going to the mission to save his own family, and starts actually begging him to go. Which convinces Rudius to go on the mission, hoping for all of them to make it back safe and sound. So fast forwarding after the worst Father Days present ever, Rudius comes back, and he has nothing good to tell Norn. This guy basically said, so dad died, mom malfunctioned, but hey, I brought back a new wife. Norn at this point is trying to act responsible and act reasonable, but him bringing in a new waifu was terrible. What makes it worse is that Norn is a follower of Millis, if I'm saying that right. AKA, she's essentially Catholic, meaning when he brought back a new wife instead of their alive parents, alive parent and very functional parents, she crashed out. As Norn is grabbing Rudius by the collar, she tries to empathize and sympathize with Sophia, telling him of her struggles and how he basically made her anxious by not being there. Norn at this point being 10 years old, I think. I just know she's not any older than 12. This child had gone through the Mana disaster. Constant threat of monsters, subjugated to see her protector getting beat by her own brother, living with that said brother that she doesn't like, not getting a chance to form her own self, and worst Father's Day present ever. Oh, and worst Mother's Day present ever too. And a feeling of being betrayed by the brother that she had just accepted. Alright, well, that's all I got for you guys, so I hope you guys liked watching, and have a great one. Like, subscribe, you know the gist, and see you guys in like 102 days.